Hi, and welcome to Chapel Hill Maker. I'm Rachel, and I love knitting and making here in beautiful and humid Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm so happy that you could join me today. I have a different type of episode for you. If you saw, I posted a short a little while ago asking if people would be interested in seeing my summer knits collection and thought this would be a good time to go through it. I have a lot. So I'm going to go through them kind of quickly, and I'll share what yarn I used, what the pattern was, and sort of what its life has been like since I finished it. So I'm excited to kind of do this little review just for you guys to have some ideas of good summer knits to make, but also for me to maybe remind me of some of the past projects that I've made that don't get as much sunlight and see what I can do. So I'm going to sort of jump right in, but to start, I'm going to say thank you so much for being here. And if you want to try to find me outside of the YouTube world of Chapel Hill Maker, you can also find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Chapel Hill Maker as well. And now we have a Ravelry group as well in the group section. I'll link it in the show notes, and I hope you'll join me there. I am not there all that often to check it, but I would love it if you guys would want to have conversations there too. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right in, and I'll start with what I'm wearing today, which is actually one of my all-time favorite summer knits, and I keep meaning to make another one. And this one was kind of a surprise for how much I loved it. I wanted to make it because I thought it would be a fun challenge, and it was way outside of my comfort zone. This is the Look at My Holes by James M. Watts. And just to stand up and show it to you, you can see it is appropriately named. It is a raglan construction. It's, if I remember correctly, top down, and you do the raglan increases and then you separate for sleeves. And it is like a yarn over extravaganza. So I love wearing this in the summer just as a chance to wear something that I've made. And I also kind of like the idea that I took something that was sort of not my typical project to wear. I mean, this would be an awesome like swim cover up or, you know, any of those kind of things. But I like kind of pairing something a little bit edgy with something a little more traditional, like a collared shirt. And so I'm wearing it today with a sleeveless collared shirt. It is 90 degrees out here. And I knit this out of Cascade Ultra Pima cotton. And so it is light. It's a DK weight yarn. It's light. This knit up really quickly, as you could imagine. It was on a very obviously loose gauge. And every single time I wear it out, somebody will stop me and ask me either where I got it or if I made it, depending on how well they know me. So yeah, so this is Look at My Holes by James M. Watts. And the reason I chose to wear this today was because this is one that if I just saw the project page on Ravelry, I might not have chosen to make it because I would have thought, oh, that's not so much for me. That doesn't, I don't know that that would fit my, you know, overall aesthetic. And yet when I went through all of the different project pages on there, I saw other people who had done different things with it. And so, yeah, so I thought maybe I would wear it and show it to you so you could get the idea that it might be a fun project for you to wear as well. So I'm going to be reaching over to my pile over here a fair amount and looking at my notes so that I can keep track of everything. To give you any indication, I have a front and back today of everything that I have to share with you. So I'm going to roll through them. If I've shared them on the podcast before, I'll probably, you know, give you a little bit less information. But I literally pulled these out of my closet in the stacks that they were in. There is no order or rhyme or reason to how I'm going through them, but I think that actually, I don't know, that makes it kind of fun for me. It's like a surprise. The criteria that I used for a summer knit is either if it was designed as like a t-shirt or a summer weight project, or if I used a summer fiber for it, linen, cotton, silk, bamboo, any of those combinations or a blend or if I just tend to wear it during the summer months here in North Carolina. So yeah, so the first one that I'm going to start with is the Tegna by Caitlin Hunter. And this I knit, I mean, I want to say 2019 maybe, if not before. And almost all of these I have a Ravelry page for. One of them I came across I didn't as I was making this list. And these are going to be a little bit wrinkled. I didn't steam everything. And I just, like I said, pulled them right out of my closet. So this is the Tegna, and it's a lace, it's a bottom up, I think, bottom up construction. You start with this lace panel, and don't quote me, maybe it's not bottom up, but, and then it's stockinette city and fingering weight yarn for days. And this was one I knit pretty early in my garment knitting journey when I came back to knitting several years ago. And I think Madi and I did this as a knit along Colorado knitter. And I knit this out of Big Star Yarn Company in their Star Sock. So it's a straight up sock yarn. I'll be honest, this does not get a ton of wear for me. A couple reasons. It ends up feeling a little like a peplum bottom, and it just doesn't. I love this lace panel, by the way. Love it. It's so pretty, and it feels like when I look at it, I feel proud that I made it. But I don't love how it flares out around my hips. And to be honest, with it being a sock yarn, it's a little bit warm. So I'll pull it out in the fall sometimes and wear it when it starts to cool down. But unfortunately, this one doesn't see a ton of daylight, and it was at the bottom of the pile. The next one is the Farnham Tee by Knit Pearl Girl, Sophie. And this one is like, it has legs. I mean, this, I keep seeing it come up every year on the Hot Right Now. And I think I made this last year. Time blends, just time blends. But this is my Farnham Tee, and I knit this in Sana Scarnlina, and it this is like her orange poppy color, and this is actually a really pale pink. It looks white on here, but it's like a ballet slipper kind of pink. And the thing that drew me to this project is her sleeve construction. I love the way these sleeves look. It just is such a cool effect, and her instructions are phenomenal. If you're a newer knitter, Sophie's patterns are amazing. She like holds your hands the whole way. And I love this. It's airy, it's oversized. I wear it with shorts, I'll wear it over a skirt or even over like a dress. I didn't make it too long, so that way it looks okay if I wear it over a dress. But Sana Scarnlina is probably my favorite summer yarn to use, whether it's the Tin Lina or the DK weight one. But yeah, Farnham Tee by Sophie the Knit Pro Girl. Next one, I'm not going to even spend a lot of time on because you've seen so much of it, but that's my Checkerplate Tee by Lily Kate France and Lily Kate Makes. And I made this in Wool Dreamers Sayana, and I love this. I've worn it, gosh, at least once or twice a week since I finished it, and I get so many compliments every time. And every time I catch myself in the mirror, I sort of feel fancy. So the next one is the only one that I somehow didn't make a Ravelry page for. Also didn't weave in my last end. But this is Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And she has this super cool way of doing the folded over neckline. She gives you the option of either doing like a standard fold over or doing this interesting, like sort of exposed seam fold over so that it looks kind of like a store-bought muscle tank. And I will say I loved the construction of this. It took me forever to knit. It was sort of my travel knitting. I think I finished it last year, and it was kind of my travel knitting all summer everywhere I went. It's a small gauge, and I did this in Knitting for Olive cotton merino, which again is another one of my favorite summer yarns. And it knit up beautifully. I still have a spot right here where I joined, I don't know if you could see it, where I joined a new ball of yarn. Let me see, right here in that fold. and it just never laid right, and I'm not sure why, and no matter how much I fuss with it, it gets worse, so I just left it, but it's in the back, and I end up mostly wearing this under like a button down or something, and I actually wear this all year round. My biggest issue with this is I think the color is just a tiny bit too close to my skin color, and so I look a little washed out when I'm wearing it, but I'm really happy with the result of this. I have to wear sort of a racerback bra with it, but it's worth it. It feels really professional and was worth the time that it took. And it was a great travel knit because it's tiny and the little Knitting for Olive balls of yarn are tiny and they go a long way. So I could take on a trip, I would need one ball of yarn and this, and it was great. Clearly never, I always thought I would go back and make it a little bit longer. Haven't done that yet, and maybe that would make me wear it, but I've even thought about throwing it in like some red dye or something to see if maybe I'd wear it more if it were in a darker color. Next one up is, this is the Zelda Crop by Olga Putano, and this is one I knit, I want to say it was like a COVID summer knit, and I love the color work in this. It is so beautiful, and I don't wear this enough, probably because I knit it with a sock yarn, and it's it is, what is it? Sweet Georgia mohair silk sock, and I think it had like a I think I had a kit for a shawl or something for it, and then I decided I wanted to make this top instead, and the color work just drew me right in. The white that you see is actually Farmer's Daughter Fibers Foxy Lady, and it was left over from my Navelli, which I'll share in a little bit, and it's white, but it has all these little blips of color, and it really makes the color work stand out. I was pretty proud that I was able to sort of get these little teardrops down without having too much pulling in between. I think my bind off is a tiny bit tight at the bottom, and so I'm always really careful when I put it on, but I love this tee. I think I should keep it, more in the forefront, and maybe it'll get more wear in the fall, but the mohair definitely adds some warmth to it. So if I was going to make this again, I don't think I would use a summer weight yarn because it's not always great for color work, but maybe like a Knitting for Olive cotton merino would be nice for this. So if it had a little wool in it. Next up is my Navelli, and I wore this on a recent episode, so I won't speak that much about it. And it seems to be having a little bit of a resurgence. I've noticed it sort of trending on Ravelry. And I knit this out of Farmer's Daughter Fibers, Foxy Lady, and it's a silk blend yarn. And this also was bottom up, and it's a pretty small gauge. And I think Madi and I did this one together too. It was one of my earlier color work projects, and I'm really proud of it. And I wear this a ton. I love it. There's not a whole lot negative I can say. I think it's a great pattern. Once you get through the color work, which was addictive and exciting, it is miles and miles of stockinette. So again, probably really good travel knitting. The Foxy Lady yarn has held up really well after years of wearing and washing, and I recommend that highly. Okay, my next one is called the Lito, and this was one I test knit for Laine magazine for the designer goes by MW. And this was a really cool construction. It was a sort of saddle shoulder. You knit the sleeves first, and you knit flat in color work until you join for sleeves, and then the rest is in the round. And I love the way this looks. And this also ends up being more of an early spring to late fall project for me, just because I knit this out of the recommended yarn, which was Holst Super Soft, which is 100% wool, really thin, light fingering yarn. I love the construction. I love the way this looks. I would make another one. It does have a wide square neck line, so you do have to sort of keep that in mind. But The super soft does get softer with wear. It does not start off super soft, but as you use it, it does get softer. And I don't know if you're able to see, but this has both texture and color work, which keeps you engaged the whole time. You're sort of like, let me just get through this section and this section and this section. So that's the Lito, and that was in Laine magazine, and I think now you can purchase it as a separate pattern because it was from a couple years ago. Next thing is the Lacey Loops Tee by Other Loops, and I knit this last summer. And I knit this out of, I think I knit it out of the recommended yarn, which was a Laine du Nord luxury silk. Let me see, what was it called? Yeah, Laine du Nord luxury silk. And I have sort of mixed feelings about it. I didn't love the yarn. It's a, like, what's it called? Like a chainette kind of yarn. And I don't know if it's because they use like a boret silk or what. It has sort of a really dull color to it. And again, this color on me I don't think is fantastic. It's a little, I feel like it sort of washes me out. But I liked making this a ton. It is very oversized and breezy. Like the drape is beautiful. Maybe if I had done this in a different color, I would wear it more. But to be honest, I don't really wear it that much, which is a bummer, but I did enjoy making it. It was fun to make, and it's always fun to sort of knit something up at a large gauge and just watch it grow so quickly. But yeah, sadly, I think it was the yarn choice. I don't know what I would use instead because it is light, and it, a heavier gauge for a summer weight is risky. And I don't know, maybe I need to play with it and figure out how to wear it differently. This, I think I may have worn on my very first episode. And this is called the Frost Flower Sweater, or the Frost Flower Tee. And this is by, did I say the Lacey Loop was by Other Loops? Just want to make sure. This is by Yuelina Murak. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. And I love this sunny yellow. This is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino held double. So it's a DK weight, and this lace panel was so much fun and looks so complicated, but really was so easy to follow. It was just, I think, 2 different charts that you followed, and it was top down, and so I could try it on as I went. And this got a lot of wear last year over the summer and into the fall, and it's just such a sunny, happy color. So I expect that she will be making an appearance again. It's a little, DK weight is a little heavy for a North Carolina summer, but I think there's definitely a place for it, and it looks really cute with, if I wear it with some like Bermuda short kind of shorts, I look a little like camp counselor-y and in a good way, and I think that's fun. So next one is the Staple Linen Top by Joji Locatelli. And this I knit out of Durarium Natura Antigone, which is 100% linen. And it is really soft. It has gotten a lot of wear, and it softens up with each wear. I don't know if you get a good glimpse here. There we go. And it's got a wider panel in the back of this twisted rib. Like all this is, it's hard to, I don't think it's showing really well on camera, but all it is a twisted rib panel right in the front and in the back. And because of the nature of the linen, it makes it look a little more intricate than it is. But I wear this a lot like under a button down. I don't tend to wear like sleeveless things out in the wild all that often. It's just not my favorite part to show off. But yeah, so this gets a ton of wear. It works up really quickly. It's again a really nice travel knit. I think I made this 2 years ago, and I take it with me when I travel because you can wash this in the washing machine, and every time it just gets better. So such a good, it's perfect name, Staple Linen Top. Next one is sort of a bummer. I love this top. It is called the Harlequin Tee by Melanie Reinert, and she had a whole collection of Harlequin patterns, and I think I made this 3 years ago, but it is so pretty. and the color is so pretty. It's called True Blood Red. And look at this, it's twisted stitches, you know, so it's a 1x1 cable that just travels. I love the puffy sleeves. I really love so much about this, except it is a worsted weight cotton. So it is warm. And so at the time where I would, and I also have an end that needs to be clipped, but at the time I would wear it, it's too hot. Like as soon as I put it on, I start really feeling too warm. But I would consider knitting this again in a different yarn, and maybe just at a I don't know if it would work at a looser gauge, or if you have a suggested sort of like airy worsted weight summer yarn, I'm open to suggestions, because I loved making this. I loved, you know, I love the way it looks, and it's a good, I mean, this is a good red, which it's like a bluey red. And it's really pretty. It just is like as soon as I put it on, I'm just hot. Next one you have seen as well, and I haven't added to it yet, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to. This is my Tolsta Tee that is very wrinkly. This is by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea, and then I added some embroidery on it on the front and on the back. And I did a picot edge on the neck and on the sleeves, and then just a folded hem. So almost no purling in this entire project. I guess it's knit in the round raglan style. So again, a good, sort of mindless beach knit. Excuse me. And I wish I maybe made this a tiny bit longer, and if I make it again, that's what I would do. It's a fantastic pattern, though. I really recommend it. I talked about it at length when I showed it last time, but she gives you a ton of options, and if you look at her project pages on there, people are so creative and came up with so many cool ways to sort of make it unique and interesting, and she really embraces that. And so that is one of my favorites. I don't think I told you that I made that out of Santalina by Pearl Soho. I love the yarn. It feels cool on your body when you put it on. It's a little like I wouldn't wear it today in 90-degree heat, but it's a really nice summer yarn, and it's all by plant-based fibers, but doesn't feel like it. It sort of knits like wool a little bit. Next up, I have the Tucker by Alicia Plummer, and this I tested for her, and I love it, except I have an exception on it. I love the yarn. I loved the pattern. It was so fun to make. Look at this yarn. It's Laine Nord silk tweed, and let's see, let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Yeah, Laine Nord cotton silk tweed. It feels really nice. This pattern was super fun. You have the pocket. I decided to put a little contrast line on the pocket there just to give it a little bit of interest. And then the only complaint I have is when I was making this, I ran out of yarn. So it is very cropped. I think it would be cute as like a little vest. It does not get as much wear as if I could have made it a couple inches longer. I ran out of yarn, and then my local yarn shop didn't have any more. So, and I had a test deadline, so I kind of finished it off and called it good. But I want to make another one of these because I loved working. It's a DK weight, and it was Tucker by Alicia Plummer. So we are halfway through the list, and I'm going to keep moving. This is my Prospect Tee by Tori Yu. Let's shake that out a little bit. I spoke at length about this on the podcast as I was testing this for her. I made this out of Wool Dreamer Sayana, just like the Checkerplate, which again starts with a little bit of prickle factor but gets softer as you wear it. And I can't say enough wonderful things about the pattern, about Tori, and this definitely gets a lot of wear. Again, now that it's getting into the 90s, there's only so much I can do, right? Next one is another travel knit. You're seeing a theme here. A lot of my summer weight stuff ends up being sort of my spring break knit is what I end up wearing in the summer. And this is the mini mock neck by Jessie Made Designs. And I knit this in Primrose Yarn Co. And it was a local yarn store exclusive color. And I bought this in Salt Lake City, Utah. Not in Salt Lake, Park City, Utah. When I was there on a trip, my kids had a jump rope competition there. And so I always venture off to find a yarn store. So I love the yarn. I don't usually do like a hand-dyed speckle. This was all from one skein of yarn. It was a big hunkin' skein, and this gets more wear in the winter for me just because it's an MCN, which is merino cashmere nylon, and so it's not, I wouldn't say it's light and airy, but it is light, and I would definitely make another one of these. My neck bound off a tiny bit tight, and so that's my only gripe about it. And I didn't make it as mock neck as you see some of them, but it's a great shell sort of to wear under things. Next one is, this is called the Sommerknus, and it is, I want to make sure I give you the right, Elspeth Judith. It's by Elspeth Judith Sommerknus, and I did this in Equinox Sport, which is, I think, an all silk or silk cotton blend by Magpie Fibers. Let's see if you could see the texture. This was so much fun to knit. It was so potato chippy. You just wanted to get to the next section and knit it. It ended up a tiny bit big on me. I think I must have just been really relaxed when I was making it. I've thought about ripping it out and redoing it, but it is really light and airy. I wear it in the summer for sure. I do like wearing it sort of with a shirt underneath it because it does kind of, you know, it's a big wide neck. But I loved it. I loved the yarn. I loved the pattern. It was really fun to make. And yeah, that was the Sommerknus. And I think she has like a sweater version of that also. Next is one that I wear all the time. And this is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. And this is in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. Again, this took me a long time. These are little stitches right here. But I loved the construction of this neck. It was really unique and interesting to do, and so that kept my attention. This is a double knit band here, and this little V-neck. It fits well, it wears well. The Pure Silk from Knitting for Olive is a lovely summer yarn, and it was worth the time that I put into it. Do I regret making a white one because I'm messy? Maybe, but so far it's washed really well and I haven't had any problems with it. So I love it. I would make it again. Next up is the Nolita Tank by Tori Yu. And I tested this for her last summer and I love this tank top. It is out of Sandnes Garnlina, and it has this cool contrasting neck and armband, and some people did it in the same color, other people did contrast. I loved the contrast. It was a fun construction. I love the way it looks. It's got this cool little tab right here across the back, and I would knit 100 of these. I think they're great, and again, Tori's patterns are fantastic, so you won't have any problems with it. Continuing on, this is so fun. I like take out all my old stuff. This is the Joni by Moonstruck Knits, and I would say it's in my top 5 of summer tops that I wear. This is out of Kelborn Willings Mojave, and it is a plant-based yarn, and it's in a natural color. And I love the way this center lace detail came out and the ribs of garter on the side. I think the neckline is a tiny bit wide, but it looks wider here than it does when I wear it. And yeah, I love this. So definitely check this one out if you're looking for sort of more of a thinker, I would say. You definitely have to pay attention to the chart, but it knits up so beautifully, and that's one of those that I'm sort of proud of. And this next one is too. This one is the Love Letter, Love Letter top by Kudavakika. And this again was a all over lace. Let's see, it's white, so let's see if I can get you. And I did this also in Sanniscarn Lina, and it is an all over, multi-chart lace tank top. It fits really, really well, and it was so fun. I think I knit this in like a week and a half. And that's because I just couldn't put it down. It has an I-cord edging on the arms and the neckline, and I love the way it came out. If I remember correctly, it was a 4-stitch I-cord, so it was a chunky one. Again, the end I didn't weave in. But yeah, this is so, 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 so fun. And I think this was the yarn that she recommended for it. So it's always I always feel good when I'm able to match the yarn, because I know I'll get something closer to what the designer intended. And I wear that probably once a week during the summer. This one doesn't get as much wear, but I don't really have a good reason for why not. It is called the Bisou top, and it is by Paula Pereira, and it's knit in Quince & Company Sparrow, which is 100% linen. And you can tell doesn't see much daylight because it's crinkled here. But it is like a cute, I think I may have lost a button on it too. Let's see. It is a really cute kind of Henley looking top that for some reason these buttons do not like to stay buttoned. I should need to like make the buttonholes smaller, but it's nice because the sleeves come down about to here. It's really pretty. It's a pretty color. I don't have a good reason for not wearing it. It was a fun project to make. It worked up really fast because it was a thin yarn at a larger gauge. And oops, my sleeve is out. There we go. Now you can see it better. And as you can see, my arm right through it at the window. So it is light, and it's a nice lightweight summer sweater. I wonder if I worked on the button band a little bit, if I would wear it more, but they don't stay buttoned, and it kind of drives me crazy. That's not the designer's fault. It's probably user error. This one I wore on a recent episode, and it is the Ranunculus, and I knit this in Quince & Company Kestrel. And that's their worsted weight. I don't know if they still make it, but it was or is their worsted weight, 100% linen. And it's a little crunchy as far as like compared to my other linen, like compared to the Antigone from Durerum Natura. The Quince & Co ones are definitely crunchier. You can probably, I don't know if you can hear it. I'm wearing a microphone today, so maybe you can hear the crunch. So, but I love it. It's great for the summer. It's super flowy, similar to that Lacey Loops Tee. I don't normally wear really oversized tops. Just I feel like on my smaller frame, it doesn't always work for me. But if I throw this over a dress, or I wear it with sort of fitted pants, I think it looks really pretty, and it looks very kind of professional and like resort weary. I have three left rather. This is the Robinia Tee by Robinia Tee by Ann Vedsel. And I finished this in the fall, so hasn't been through a summer yet. And I did this in Sonder Yarn Co. Flax and Fleece. And it is mostly fleece, I think, if I remember correctly, and more, and a little bit of flax. But I love these sunny, happy colors. I had originally bought these yarns for a kit for something else, and I don't remember what it was supposed to be, but it wasn't speaking to me. And then I saw this and thought it would just be perfect. I think this is more of a fall wear. It's warm, but I love it. I love the way it looks. I think it would be really pretty in if you did it with Sanniscarn Lina, or with Knitting for Olive, cotton merino, or their, or the cotton. And then speaking of Knitting for Olive, I did this Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter in pure silk. And it was sort of a labor of love. This took me a while. I will be honest and tell you I did not love knitting this chart, but I love the result. And I was kind of surprised by how good the color work looked in the silk yarn. I took a risk. I had this left over from the Moonset Tee, and I had bought this rose color and decided I would just go for it. And it came out really pretty. One unfortunate thing about this, if you can see at the bottom here, I got it caught on my one of the drawer pulls in my kitchen, and it pulled a hole in it. And so I've just found the leftover yarn for it, and so I have to figure out how to mend it, which I'm a little nervous about. But so right now she's kind of on the bench. She's not getting anywhere, but I was wearing it a lot before that. And she's been sitting there for probably 6 months because I've been afraid to, figure out how to. I've been watching a lot of videos, which are very soothing, by the way, where they weave it up, and I find those delightful and soothing, but so far it hasn't made me want to make it. This was probably, if I was giving out awards, it would be like my biggest surprise, maybe after this one, that I ended up loving. And this is called the Agave Tee, or maybe it's just called Agave, and it's by Yumiko Alexander. And if you look at her version, it looks really different than mine because I knit mine at a really much tighter gauge than she did. Hers is really flowy, and she looks so cool in it, and it just wouldn't have suited me, but it looks amazing on her. And I loved this stitch pattern. It needs a steaming. I haven't worn it yet this season, but I hate that the folds in it are taking away from it in the camera, but I wear the heck out of this. I love this so much. It is a slightly cropped, as you can see, it's a slightly cropped, relaxed fit. And this was knit flat and seamed. And it really was kind of fun to do. I think it used 2 balls of Sandnes Garn Lina. And this was the contrast color from my Farnham Tee. I had leftovers, so that was what made me cast that one on. But it's so cute, and it's so light, and it's really it's just one of those that I'm so happy I made. And I almost forget that I made it because it worked up so fast that it just was like on my needles and off my needles. So I also think it's kind of fun when you see how a designer imagines it and you are able to sort of reimagine it a little bit. And it didn't take any work for me to change it, except I just did it at a tighter gauge, and it worked. I could have made it, longer if I needed to, but I was happy with the result. And I think that brings me to the end of all of my summer knits. So I'm going to link all of the projects in the show notes. And I would love to know sort of what summer knits are inspiring for you. I am looking forward to finishing my current test knit so I can get back to some summer knits. And living here in North Carolina, where we have summer goes from May to October pretty much. I usually go and get I'm drawn to those patterns. I have, that I shared with you recently, a sweater's quantity of Sandnes Garn Lina, and I have to decide what I'm going to make with it. I was thinking maybe of making another look at my holes, but I don't know, maybe a Tolsta Tee, maybe something I haven't seen yet or hasn't been designed yet. So I can't wait to jump in and do that. But that's what I have for you today. So I'm sort of skipping all of the usual fanfare of my recommendations and my news cycle avoidance. It'll all be back next time. I've just had a really rousing response to that, to my YouTube short about whether or not people wanted to see my summer knits, and everybody seemed to. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of summer inspiration as we're going into this. For me, going into the holiday weekend, Memorial Day here in the United States. I don't know when this will be up, but if it's before, have a fantastic weekend. And if it's after, I hope you had an awesome 3-day weekend. And thank you so much for joining me and for liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting and engaging and inspiring, and for all of the wonderful ings. And I'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.